This is a snowmobile highway, one of the main trails that's kept groomed by the various snowmobile clubs around here. And on Ontario, especially in the northern part here and far north where I am, there are thousands of miles of these trails. And as you can see, they're groomed generally they're in better shape than the roads. And if you really need to get somewhere, you're probably a better off chance of getting there on a snowmobile than you would be on a road. And this is where this main trail crosses the river and carries on. But what we're going to do is we're going to swing off the trail here. I don't ride trails. I had to get on this one. Oh, I didn't have to, but I got on this one briefly. And we're actually heading north, but it's downstream from here. The height of land is about the middle of Ontario. Everything from around that area, several hundred miles south of me, flows south into the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario and so on. And everything north of that area, including here, flows north up into James Bay, which is right directly in front of us, about 300 miles or so. So let's carry on, and we got about 15 miles up the river, maybe a bit more. That is the end of a big swamp and a stream that comes down from way up in the bush. And the beauty of a snowmobile in the wintertime is that you can get places that you can't get to in the winter or in the summer, even with an Argo. That's a pretty remote spot, and that's great because there's a pile of moose in there. When you get temperatures that are consistently colder than minus 30, and we've had them pretty consistently in the minus 40s lately, things just get brittle. Things break, and it's just not probably a smart time to be out and about. But anyway, it's that temperature most of the time, so if you didn't get out and about, you just never do anything. We've had a toe strap break, and fortunately I noticed it before the whole thing had broken off and I lost the sleigh. And see if we can get this patched up, and then we'll get back on our way again. In temperatures like this, when you live way up in the north like this is just the way it goes, and you just have to be prepared to deal with it, and don't let it bother you. So I'm going to shut the camera off so I can do this with two hands, and we'll carry on. That's going to be better. Come on, baby. Let's get a little heat going here. I'll just give you a quick... This is about, I don't know, 4 by 6, 6 by 6. I don't know. It's pretty small. So I'll just get back here and show you. This is it. That's all she wrote. But you know what? You get this... There you go. Look at it. You get that thing going, and you touch down the damper just a bit, and you can't sit in here with the door closed except on the worst of the coldest weather, because it gets well, it's about the same size as a sauna, so you can imagine. We have a little wood pile there, and I've brought some more wood and some kindling. There's some paper here. We always kindle a lot of birch bark. We always keep these things stocked with wood. And a good reason is that if anybody's traveling down through here and they get into trouble, snow machine breaks down or whatever, and it's really broken down, they can't get out that, you know, before nightfall or something. These are privately owned ice huts that the individuals bring out here, but they're also very rarely are they ever locked. Now they're the odd one. There's one I'll show you here on our way back, and he's got a satellite dish and all kinds of stuff on it. It's far bigger than this. So I expect that's probably locked because I imagine there's some costly stuff in there. But generally speaking, they're small, nicely put together like this. There's a rack up at the top there for drying gloves and whatnot. And it's all you need to come out here and spend a day or even two. The only thing about this one is that if the bunks were just, like the seats were a bit longer, you could actually lie down on one and spend the night. And most of them are a bit bigger that way. But, well, that's the way it is. It's certainly nice to have, and it's certainly nice to get warmed up with it. So, we'll get a little bit more wood going there. We'll get it heated up. Maybe I'm going to cook up a little something because it's been a long ride up here, and we'll see what happens in a few minutes. Okay, and there's some bannock mix, onion, potato, a few mushrooms, and this. Oh, I've got it soaking in water here because it was half frozen. Also, it was had been brined, so it needs to soak for just a little bit to get some of the saltiness off it. Wasn't bad, but I just like to do that. There's some smoked pork bacon that I made, and as we can see, the stove is doing okay. It's starting to come up. Should get some heat off of that pretty soon. And I got the cast iron here. I got that smaller one. That's going to be for the bannock. The larger one here will be for the rest of the stuff. Let's set it down here for a moment. And this is kind of cool. This is what I'm going to use as a cast iron. I'm going to use it as a plate. And I got these at an auction sale, or a yard sale, whichever, many years ago. And I think what they were, I got probably 8 or 10 of them. And they were in kind of rough shape. They had been in a barn. So I brought them back and cleaned them all up. I've cleaned up several of them. And I think what these were they were served hot in a restaurant where you got fajitas and so on. And these would be smoking hot, and they would be served on a platter, nothing like this of course, but it would fit, and they would sit right down into the little recess there, and they would bring that out to the table with the hot meat and so on it, and then you had all your little dishes and your flatbreads to make up your... Anyway, I got several of these, and I've cleaned them up, and I'm going to use them as plates, or you could even cook on them, of course. So we'll carry on with that. I got to get a tripod set up here too, so give me a few minutes. Okay, we'll make up some bannock. We'll get some... Let's put a little water in here to start with. You don't want too much. I always make sure that I don't use the last of my bannock mix, just in case I get a little too much water in there, and then I have to make an adjustment. I also have some bacon grease here that I brought, some mushrooms, potatoes, and onions, so I'm going to get this all cooking up. I decided to start frying it. Oh man, that smells good. Piece of leather scrap I keep around. I've used it, as you can see, it's pretty well used. I just use it on the handles here because they obviously get quite hot. And I decided to put this in here just to put a little flavor into the oil for the bannock. So we're going to put this into the other pan where we're going to fry it, and dump just a little of this moisture off, and then I'm going to put the bannock in here. It's in the pan. I've just pressed it down flat with my spoon, more or less. It's probably ½ inch, maybe a little bit thicker. So that's going to take probably 20 minutes. I don't have an actual lid for that, so I'm just going to put the other pan on top. It's probably not going to get this cooking very much. I'll just let this, a little bit of butter, but mostly it's just bacon fat. I'll let that get going, and then while I'm waiting for that to cook, I'm going to slice up some mushrooms, onions, and potatoes, and then when this small pan with the bannock comes off, I'll finish this one on the top of the stove. Okay, I've scraped down to the level of the ice, give or take an inch. Now I measured this before we left, it's 36 inches from there to here. So we'll just see. That's 36 inches to the bottom of this piece here, this collar, and we pretty much got to the top of the auger. So that's a good 30 inches of ice in there. Let's hang the auger up there for a moment. Before I start fishing, I'm going to check supper here. Look at that, just golden perfect. We'll give it another few minutes and then I can start cooking the rest of the supper. Onions and potatoes, and I'm just going to finish up the couple of mushrooms and get them in there right now. And I don't know if it's cooled down enough yet or not, but I'm going to try that bannock because it sure smells good. I can't wait any longer. That's hot. Look at that. Ooh, look at the steam coming off of that. I don't know if I can't get very far apart from, where I am in this small building, so I can't really. Oh man, a little butter, a lot of butter. That, man, you guys should smell this. Somebody has got to invent smell-o-vision. Well, I want to thank you for joining me. I was going to serve this up on a plate, but I'm not going to wait that long. I'm just going to, this bannock, I'm not going to need this other stuff. I'm going to be so full of this bannock. That stuff's so good. Anyways, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to sit here and finish this off, but I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll get out a few more times before the winter's over. Didn't get a lot of fishing done. The snow was so deep and the ice was so thick. And with that little mishap of the trailer breakdown on the way here, it kind of killed some of my time. So I brought some wood, so I've supplied the place. There's a lot of firewood in here now. And some other supplies that I've brought and left behind, or will leave behind. And the next time I come, all I got to do is bring the auger. I don't leave that here. And drill my holes and get started. So, hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please share it with someone else. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you all the next time. Have a good day.